Believe this, I've never been the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. I've never needed to be, right? Because I believe at the core of what it is it's my will versus your will. It's my bloodline versus your bloodline. It's what I represent versus what you represent. It's what I believe versus what you believe, right? And so when I see this game and I look at it from the perspective that I view it through, right? The thing that hurt me the most when I got injured, it wasn't that my career ended. It wasn't that. Right? It's when I went to watch a game or watch a practice and you would see a cat that took it for granted and didn't appreciate it. Right? Like, I'm from the school of thought. I can't understand how a cat can say they want something and not give everything they got to it. Right? I'm from the school of thought. When a cat is a part of something, organization, team, brotherhood, and you look a man in his eyes and tell him you're going to give him everything he got, and then the situation or the circumstances change, and then you allow your actions to betray your words, I can't understand or comprehend that. That's hard for me. Right, so when I got here, it meant something different to me. My mother was working a double shift at Wendy's when I got here. Had me at 16 years old. Came from a 2-bedroom home with 14 people in the city of Atlanta. First one in my family to get a scholarship. Right, so I was thinking legacy the whole time. And I'll never forget the first summer I got here, I was in my locker and I saw one of my teammates come into the locker room and he was saying as he was putting stuff in his locker, I quit. Right? And he was throwing stuff in his locker, and I'll never forget, I stood up and I said to him, as a man, right? As a man, look me in my eyes and tell me you're not about to quit. Like, as a man. Tell me you're not about to quit. Like, you're not about to wave the white flag and say, I yield. Like, tell me you're not about to fold. Tell me you're not about to go in the fetal position because the situation and the circumstance has gotten hard. Tell me you're not about to get to a campus, and because you're not getting what you thought you was going to get, you want to go back home and you want to call your mother. Tell me you're not getting on campus, and because they switch your position, you want to call your father and tell him to talk to a coach. Tell me you're not about to quit. And he's like, yeah, Inky, I'm about to quit. I said, why? I can't take the way they talking to me. I said, you're not 8, right? You're not 7, right? You're not a baby, right? He's like, nah, but I can't take the way they talking to me. I said, oh, you want them to treat you like the double treat. You want to check in, they give you 2 warm cookies, they pat you on your butt, they tell you good job for doing what you said you was going to do. Like, you want validation. And I asked him the question, I said, this isn't about your legacy? Like, you're not working every single day feeling as if when you do something, if you're blessed to reproduce, one day when somebody go up to your seeds or your children, because of how you did it, they're like, man, that's your father, you good. Right? You don't want to do it in such a way that when somebody see you, they're like, man, if it has to be done, that is the way you do it. You're not doing it in such a way to when you do it, they're like, hey, you want to see how it's done? Let me turn on the tape so you can see this cat and see how he coming every single day. Not inconsistency. Right? Like, I was one, I didn't care about talent. Right? I didn't care about skill set. Right? Because I understood talent and skill set might betray you along the journey if they don't have a consistency of mindset and they don't have a certain level of fortitude in every fiber of their being. At a certain point, you can have a cat that's talented, or you can have a cat that has character and you know what he bringing to the table every single day. Right? You got cats that's talented that tap out. Like, anybody can go 1 or 2 down. Right? Anybody can go 3 downs. But it's very seldom that you find a cat when he's standing in that tunnel till his 4 zeros on that clock, he's gonna give you everything. That's a man to me, right? Most cats, little boys, right? They get what they want. I tell my son all the time, I'm like, Ink, it's a big difference between a hard worker and somebody that works hard, right? Most cats are somebody that works hard. If the situation and the circumstances what they want it to be, they're going to come out and they're going to act accordingly and they're going to give you everything they got. But a hard worker, regardless of situation, regardless of circumstance, regardless of what happened, I'm going to show up and I'm going to give everything I got to it because I'm working for something that's totally different. Right? The question becomes this: can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? Can you be committed to the process of what you're doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what you're doing? In other words, if you don't get what you thought you was going to get, will you still be the same individual? If the situation don't turn out the way you thought it would turn out, will you still be the same individual? The quote says it. You judge the character of a man not by where he stands in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a man by where he stands in times of challenge and controversy.